Today we're going to show you some product demonstration for the Zenny 5-in-1 machine. So the first thing you want to do is you want to, of course, go in the back of the machine and turn the unit on. At that point you'll see a prompt and you go ahead and enter the machine, and you will have 5 choices: your tripolar, your face, your body, your vacuum bipolar, and your cavitation choice, which all the probes are up here. So let's go with, we'll start with the tripolar. This is for the face, and that is that unit right there. This you want to do for about 10 minutes typically for a treatment. So you set the timer to 10 minutes. You start the intensity at level 3, set that down, and then you got to make sure that your customer, client, has some good gel, some cavitation gel to put on there. And spread it evenly. Use a liberal amount of gel. You really can't use too much. So you want to do it around the areas that you want to work on, which are typically around the eyes and the mouth and the chin area. So once you do that for your client, make sure they have a liberal amount of gel on their face. At that point, you can pick up your bipolar face probe once again and hit work, and you'll see the lights will light up, those will tell you that it's working. And you just simply want to use it in a circular motion. There's actually more instructions in the manual as well in regards to the treatment times and more of the patterns that you'd want to follow in the face. So you want to do this for about 10 minutes initially, initial treatment, but to save time, you get the idea what to do with the tripolar. So you would of course clean it off and put it back. And again, for time purposes, we're going to show you how to use a different wand that's also for the face. And that is this one right here. This one has 4 probes, and this is meant to rebuild collagen and to firm up the skin, and no different than the tripolar. This is a multipolar probe, and once again, you want to make sure you're in circular motions. When you're working in tight in the eyes, you will definitely want to use the tripolar unit, which is much smaller and it's easier to get into smaller areas. So once again, to save time and reference, you want to do this for a minimum of 10 minutes. Again, check the user manual in regards to how long you want to do that treatment and to what level. But my personal suggestion is always start at lower level 3 and see how the client reacts before stepping up your levels on those. So those are essentially the 2 pieces that are for the body, and what we want to do now is move on to the stomach area and the abdomen, which should also be working for the leg area as well. And once again, you do want to apply a liberal amount of gel. Again, you really can't use enough. It's critical that you have enough of this gel on the area that you're treating. And once again, the purpose of showing you how this works, we will start with cavitation. This breaks up the fat cells. And so once again, we press on the cavitation, and this particular one has mode A, B, C, or D. A is the highest level, B, C, and D are the lowest. So D is the lowest, A is the highest. So once again, I would recommend perhaps starting at a D. Your levels here, I would start between 3 and 6 once again for the initial treatment. And then timing wise, you can actually, I typically will split the body into 2, 10 to 15 minutes each side. So at that point, we hit work. This probe will cause some hearing sensations in your mind in terms of your head. And the best thing to combat that is typically I'll put some music in and you won't hear that buzzing noise as much. But in this particular case, you do once again want to do in circular motions. And your goal is always to end up in the center of the abdomen. Again, you will hear a buzzing in your head. That's normal. You know it's working. For some people, it doesn't bother them at all. For others, again, I would suggest sticking some earbuds in and listening to your favorite music. It won't bother you nearly as much. So again, you get the idea. You want to do approximately 10 to 15 minutes per side, circular motions, and always drive it towards the center, down by the groin area. And this is a multipolar unit as well, and this is again for the body. Very similar to the other one that's for the face. This one's for the body. So you would pick the body RF. Once again, treatment sides are 10 to 15 minutes on both sides. And again, I would set the settings at 3 to begin with, the initial. And I would set one up every time they come for treatment. I would move it up a notch. So once again, you can see it's working. And again, we're repeating our steps, what we're doing. Once again, no different. You are going to work in circular motions, essentially. But your goal is to push it down to the center. 10, 15 minutes per side. And of course, you do want to do the side of the thighs and the legs and the hips and other areas and arms that you wish to address. And it would be used no differently than what you're seeing here. Lastly, the last probe that you're going to use. This is the cavitation slimming vacuuming effect. So you would hit vacuum bipolar radio frequency. This one's a little bit different, and it has several settings. It has the suction setting, the release setting, and it has your timer, like all of them do, and then intensity level. So for this one, once again, I suggest the suction to be actually kind of low to start out with. I'd suggest a 2, and then the release, once again, I would start with initially with a 4 or 5. And the level itself, once again, I would suggest you start at 3. So once you set all your settings there, you push work, you will hear a buzzing noise in the machine that indicates it's working. You will note, you can put your hand there and you can feel the suction, and it releases generally on how your setting is, but this one's right around 4 seconds. So with this, once again, make sure there's liberal amounts of gel that you have applied, and this one you're going to keep in place. So once it releases, you just move it along. So obviously the idea here is to get every spot and allow the skin to be sucked up in there, which helps to get your end result that you're looking for. This one you do not want to move because the suction grabs the skin and it can be quite uncomfortable. So make sure that you indeed keep this in place until it releases and moves until all the desirable spots that you want to do with time.